Today we talk again about the controversy over whether Xi Jinping is a dictator. Some people think that Xi Jinping, General Secretary of the Central Committee of the Communist Party of China, suppressed dissent in the name of anti-corruption, undermined the collective leadership and cadre succession system established by Deng Xiaoping, restored the lifelong system in the Mao Zedong era, and established individual totalitarian autocratic rules. There are also views that during his tenure he promoted the cult of personality, limited national human rights, undermined the rules of law in Hong Kong, and suppressed the culture and language of ethnic minority. Some people jokingly call him the general accelerator who lead China's regression. He was accused of engaging in speech control, which deprived Chinese citizens of the freedom to speak and demonstrate. Critics believe that Xi Jinping has actually ended the era of reform and opening up initiated by Deng Xiaoping, and criticized that the People's Republic of China, which is Xi Jinping's new era, has become a new totalitarian state. Long-term governance. As the first plenary session of the 20th Century's Committee of the Communist Party of China in October 2022, Xi Jinping was re-elected as the General Secretary of the Central Committee of the Communist Party of China, opening the first third term of office as the General Secretary since reform and opening up. As the first session of the 14th National People's Congress in March 2023. In the context of the law amending the Constitution in 2018 to abolish the term limit of the President of the country, Xi Jinping was elected President of China by 2,952 votes in favor, 0 votes against, and 0 abstentions. Unanimously become the first president to serve more than 10 years since the founding of the People's Republic of China and opening a third term, with a term exceeding Mao Zedong. Factional disputes. The Xi Jinping's fashion, abbreviated as Xi School, is a name given by foreign media to the fashion led by Xi Jinping within the Communist Party of China, just as the Shanghai game led by Jiang Zemin and the regimental fashion led by Hu Jintao were previously called it. After the 19th National Congress of the Communist Party of China in 2017, Xi Jinping's fashion dominated the leadership collective of the Communist Party of China. The French newspaper Le Monde commented that the regression is not only dangerous to China, but also dangerous to the rest of the world. Zhang Lun, a professor at the University of Siga in France, analyzed that the subversive changes in the power patterns of the 20th National Congress are of a cold nature. Individual centralization disputes during his first term, in addition to serve as the top leader of the party government and the military general secretary of the Central Committee of the Communist Party of China, chairman of the People's Republic of China, chairman of the Central Military Commission of the Communist Party of China. Xi Jinping also served as the general commander of the Military Commission, the chairman of the National Security Commission, the leader of the Central Leading Group for Deepening National Defense and Military Reform, the leader of the Central Leading Group for Deepening National Defense and the Military Reform of the Central Military Commission, the leader of the Central Cyber Security and Information Technology Group for Foreign Affairs, the leader of the Central Leading Group for Taiwan Countering Work, as well as the leader of the Central Financial and Economy Leading Group, and the director of the Central Committee for the Integrations and the Development of the Military and the Civilians. And the number of the titles exceeds that the previous leaders of the Communist Party of China. Some media believe that Xi Jinping seized the leadership from the State Council of China by being the leader of various groups. Some media mark him as a omnipotent chairman and the comprehensive chairman. Various books named Xi Jinping also appear one after another. Some people think that the membrane claim culture shows that there are also a large number of criticism of Xi Jinping within China. selective anti-corruption and military subordinate disputes. In 2016, Xi Jinping promoted military reform and changed the responsibility and command structure of the People's Liberation Army. Some people believe that the supreme command of the military is a personal hold by Xi Jinping after taking office. Xi Jinping has held 5 important military prizes, namely the General Assembly to commemorate the 70th anniversary of the Chinese People War of Resistance against Japan and the victory of the war anti-fascist war. The military parade to celebrate the 19th anniversary of the founding of the People's Liberation Army. The Maritime Military Parade in the South China Sea in 2018. The Maritime Military Parade in the 17th anniversary of the founding of the People's Liberation Army, Navy, and the General Assembly to celebrate the 17th anniversary of the founding of the People's Republic of China. It is the leader who has held the largest number of military parades and the largest scale since 1959. Versely concerned an expert on China's military issues at the Moscow Higher School of Economics, said Xi Jinping has turned the People's Liberation Army into his political power base. Disputes over the reversion of the party and the state system. See also amendment to the Constitution of the People's Republic of China 2018 and the abolitions of the non-system for leading culture. After the 16th plenary sessions of the 18th Central Committee of the Communist Party of China in 2016, official reports began to use the party Central Committee with the comrade Xi Jinping as the core. Media such as Radio Free Asia and the Voice of America believe that the establishment of the Xi Corps is to follow Putin's example of breaking the president's take advantage of the loopholes in the party constitution of the Communist Party of China, and further amend the constitution through ways that do not conform to the convention. So that the 2 important positions of the General Security Secretary and the chairman of the Military Commission who hold real power for re-election can exist 2 terms. Many analysts, including Christopher K. Johnson, a former analyst at the Central Intelligence Agency CIA in the United States and now a China expert at the Center for Strategic and International Studies (CSIS), said that Xi Jinping will be regarded as an established arrangement to seek a replacement as the General Secretary, and the layout for re-election for more than 10 years, or even the legalization of lifelong governance. At the 19th of National Congress of the Communist Party of China held in October 2017, Xi Jinping and Li Keqiang were unanimously elected as a member of the 19th Central Committee, and unanimously approved the writing of the Xi Jinping's source of socialism with the Chinese characteristic in the new era into the statute of the Communist Party of China, which becomes the guiding ideologies of the party. After the 19th National Congress, all leaders, including members of the Standing Committee of the Politburo, members of the Politburo, secretaries of the Secretariat, and the 5 major institutions should report to Xi Jinping in the writing every year. The BBC's Chinese website believes that Xi Jinping's historical position in the Communist Party of China has reached the heights of Mao Zedong and Deng Xiaoping. Some deputies to the National People's Congress praised Xi Jinping with wise leaders and the chief designer, and at the subsequent first plenary session of the 19th Central Committee of the Communist Party of China. Among the newly elected members of the Standing Committee of the Politburo of the Central Committee, that was now successors of the right age. The Hong Kong Economic Daily expected that Xi Jinping would have a great opportunity to be re-elected as the Third General Secretary after the 20th National Congress of the Communist Party of China in 2022, following the example of the Putin in Russia and the president in Turkey, and the holding power for a long time. In 2018, the Central Committee of the Communist Party of China proposed that the 13th National People's Congress amend the Constitution to remove the limit that the president of the country should not be reappointed for more than 2 terms. Xi Jinping's 2 positions with the real power, namely the General Secretary of the Communist Party of China Central Committee and the Chairman of the Central Military Commission, have a no-term limit themselves abolish the re-election restriction for the president of the country means that he can become a lifelong leader after Mao Zedong. The chairman of the Central Committee of the Communist Party of China, April Daily, believes that Xi Jinping's approach is like emulating Yuan Sikai's calling the empire. The broken institution believes that the constitutional amendment interprets the firm determination and the will of the Chinese leadership to promote reform, which is more conducive to economic development. In 2018, the 19th Century's Committee of the Communist Party of China began to carry out the deepening of the reform of the party and the state institution. In March, the plan for deepening the reform of the party and the state institutions was promulgated, greatly adjusting the organizational structure and the function of the State Council, with the party's internal organs of the Communist Party of China assuming practical responsibility and further strengthening the party's leadership over the government. It is also regarded by the outside world as Xi Jinping weakening the power of Li Keqiang and the State Council under his leadership. Overseas views in November 2019, the BBC Chinese website published an article that China under Xi Jinping may follow the old path of a former General Secretary of the Communist Party of the Soviet Union. It is considered that its approach after coming to power is similar to that after Brezhnev came to power. It ended the reform initiated by Khrushchev, deviated from the liberalized commitment and the strength centralized national control. The report of the U.S. China Economy and the Security Review Committee in November 2019 recommend that the United States should no longer call Chinese leader Xi Jinping president, avoid being regarded as united leaders by the outside world, and should call him General Secretary with the title of the top leader of the Communist Party of China. In December 2020, live chat with the Jamie Lai program. Jamie Lai, the founder of the One Million and the April Daily, described Xi Jinping as the most absolute dictators of human history, because no one has ever had an election technology and a surveillance system like him to monitor people's every move and speech. He also pointed out that Xi Jinping is as powerful as Mao Zedong, but this statement is wrong. Xi Jinping is more powerful than Mao Zedong because the economy in Mao Zedong's era was not as strong as it is right now, and the science and the technology for monitoring the people have not yet been monetized. I think the West should be vigilant against this powerful Mao Zedong. And Cai Xia, a former professor at the Party School of the Communist Party of China Central Committee, who initially supported Xi Jinping's reform, was expelled from the parties in the 2020 for criticizing Xi Jinping's flow of remarks. The official reason of the Communist Party of China is that she violated the discipline of the Communist Party of China by making statements with political problems and damages the country's reputation. According to the regulation on the disciplinary of the Communist Party of China, he was expelled from the party. After that, Cai Xia moved aboard and continued to criticize and accuse Xi Jinping. The media generally refer to Xi Jinping's tough diplomatic lines in the middle and late stage as war diplomacy, criticizing it for having had little effect and being unwilling to communicate, which is likely to increase the estrangement, and diplomatic, official, and foreign affairs works are mostly overhead. Surprise the factional disputes of the Communist Youth League joined the 20th National Congress of the Communist Party of China in October 2022. the departure event of Hu Jintao's 20th National Congress occurred later. He was born in the 1955. At that time, Li Keqiang and Wang Yang, two former members of the Standing Committee of the Political Bureau of the Central Committee, belonging to the regimental faction, were not re-elected as a member of the Central Committee. However, they were also born in the 1955. Wang Hun, Cai Qing, He Li Fen, who had a close relation with the Xi Jinping, were all re-elected. The older Xi Jinping himself, Wang Yi and Zhang Yuexia, also continued to be re-elected. Similarly, at that time, Hu Chunhua, who was only 59 years old, did not serve as a member of the Politburo of the Central Committee of the Communist Party of China. At the first plenary session of the 20th Central Committee of the Communist Party of China, by the time the 14th National People's Congress was held, he no longer served as a vice premier of the State Council, but was only arranged to serve as a member of the Central Committee as a vice chairman of the CPP National Committee. Hu Chunhua once served as the first secretary of the Communist Youth League Central Committee and was regarded as the successor of the second generation that Hu Jintao had mainly cultivated. Radio France International believes that the successor of the second generation general secretary trained by the Hu Jintao was forced to take a back seat at the age of 59. Hu Chunhua and Sang Zhencai, who were taken down by the Central Commission for Discipline Inspection in 2017, were both victims of Xi Jinping's power struggle for re-election and the promotion of his crony. Li Keqiang, who stepped down as a prime minister for just over half a year in 2023, passed away suddenly, and there were also speculation about Xi Jinping's cause of the death. Now we talk about controversy over Li Keqiang's sudden death. As Xi Jinping, the General Secretary of the Communist Party of China Central Committee, is currently accused of forming an unprecedented personal dictatorship system, using anti-corruption movement to purge a large number of dissidents, such as dismissal of Qin Guang, then foreign minister, in July and October of the year, and the dismissal of Li Shangfu, then defense minister, more than half of a year after taking office. In addition, during Xi Jinping's tenure, he has been suppressing the regiments to which Li Keqiang belongs. For example, after the 20th National Congress of the Communist Party of China, Hu Chunhua, who was only 59 years old at the time, was removed from the Political Bureau of the Central Committee of the Communist Party of China. Li Keqiang, who is both liberal and a reformist, does not support Xi Jinping's regressive policy of ending reform and opening up, and his power is emptied. So there are conspiracy theories that the cause of his death is related to Xi Jinping, or he died by heart disease. Deng Yu, legators of the Democratic Progressive Party, believe that Li Keqiang's death was Xi Jinping's political purge of the regimental faction, and also assassinated the departure incident of Hu Jintao's 20th National Congress with Li Keqiang's sudden death, Wang Dan, an active, pointed out on Facebook that Li Keqiang's death has less credibility than that of Barnum death. Lao Keziwa KG, former China Brunei chief of the Liqi said he had received the news if Xi Jinping had to retire early due to an accident, then Li Keqiang would take his place. Xi never laid down his guard against Li. Wu Wangming, a former Guangdong Brunei chief and retired journalist of Xinhua News Agency, sent an open letter online asking for an investigation into the truth of the death. In November 2024, he was sentenced to 1 year in prison by Shanghai court for picking quarrel and provoking trouble, and was deprived his pension by Xinhua News Agency. Crackdown on the right second generation. Let's start talk about this controversy. The right second generation generally refers to the descendant of the quarrel who participated in the revolution in China, especially the children of the Communist Party of China, elders and senior leaders, also known as the Prince Party of the Gao Gan's children. Those right second generations have a considerable privilege and resource advantage in China politics or business. So most of them are in important positions in government and enterprise, such as Bao Xiliai, the sons of former Communist Party veteran Bo Ye Xianping, the sons of Ye Jianying, Chen Jun's son, Chen Yuan. Xi Jinping himself also belonged to this group. However, some overseas media say that after Xi Jinping came to power, most of the right second generation and senior children were suppressed and expelled from the power center by Xi Jinping, and even were investigated and dismissed from the polls for crimes such as corruption and investigated for criminal responsibility, including Lin Huye, the father of the former United Front Work Minister Lin Yuan, was a military medical cordial. During the Yang En period, and Mi Bo Yibo, veterans of the Communist Party of China, Bai Ziming, the uncle of the Bai Enpei, the former party secretary of Yuanlan province, and his grandfather Bai Rubing and Bai Dongcai were senior cordial during the revolutionary period. After the founding of the People's Republic of China, they once served as a party secretary and the first secretary of the provincial party committee. Ren Qingsi, the father of Ren Ziqiang, chairman of Beijing Huayang Real Estate, was a cordial of the New Force Army and served as a vice minister of the command. After the founding of the People's Republic of China, Wu Xiaohuai, chairman and general manager of Anban Insurance Group, is Deng Xiaoping's granddaughter-in-law. Min Su Tai, secretary of the Yanglan Provincial Politics and the Legal Committee, and had a father who was a cordial of the 18th Route Army, a Tai Han military region, a vice minister of the defense department of the politics department of the Shaanxi military region, and Ming Qi, who served as director of the Inner Mongolai Public Security Department and a member of the Standing Committee of the Inner Mongolai District Committee after the founding of the People's Republic of China, At the 19th Congress of the Communist Party of China, the children of many Communist Party of China veterans of Sinian culture were disqualified from representation, including Liu Xiaojiang, the sons-in-law of former Communist Party General Secretary Hu Yaobang, Zhang Haiyang, the sons of former vice chairman of the Central Military Commission, Liu Yuan, the son of former Chinese President Liu Xiaoqi, and Liu Asia, the son-in-law of former Chinese President Li Xiangliu, during the 2018 two sessions. The second generation of Huang was elected as a member of the CPPCC on a large scale, including Mao Xinyu, Mao Zedong's grandson, Deng Xiaoping's daughter Deng Nan, Chen Yuan's son, Zhu Heping, Zhu De's grandson, and Zhu Chenhu, Zhu De's grandson, Jiang Zeming's sister, Jiang Zehui, Li Ping's daughter, Li Xiaoling, Zhu Rongji's daughter, Zhu Yanlai. Regarding the above action, overseas media mostly interpret them from negative perspectives such as centralization of power of factional struggles. Further, media believe that after 20th National Congress of the Communist Party of China and the 14th National Congress of the National People's Congress of the People Congress, the second generation of China, the right has been basically excluded by Xi Jinping from China's top decision making levels and provincial ministerial level leadership. Personally, controversial in Chun'an County, Huangzhou City, Zhejiang Province, a song written by Huang Haifeng. Then the county party secretary is Huang. Thank you, General Secretary, for endowing the new era to commemorate the first day cover of the 19th National Congress sent to Xiaojiang village in the country of the 19th National Congress. Voice of America believes that after Xi Jinping of the 18th National Congress of the Communist Party of China come to power in the fall of 2012, he used the guise of fighting corruption to eliminate the political opponents, including Zhou Yongkao, Guang Boxiang, Xu Chuanhua, and establish his own personal authority. China's domestic media then spread a great deal of propaganda for Xi Jinping's personal image. There was successive learning fan group how the leaders are made, reading of General Secretary Xi Jinping's series of the important speeches. Bao Zisha, Xi Da Love Ping Mama, the East is right. In particular, the term Seitu Wang Zun is considered by VOA to be a manifestation of China's Xi Jinping's of personality. On August 28, 2017, after the premiere of CCTV, the documentary of Great Power Diplomacy, customized around Xi Jinping, was broadcast intensively in prime time on major TV station. Wang Yi, then foreign minister, published an article in the Learning Times that Xi Jinping's diplomatic source were innovation and transcendence of the traditional Western international relations theory. Over the past 100 years, Taiwan's Apple Daly believed that before and after 19th National Congress of the Communist Party of China in 2017, the official's personal propaganda of Xi Jinping reached the highest point since the Cultural Revolution. Hong Kong's Oren Daly believed that Cai Qi, a member of the Politburo of the Communist Party of China Central Committee and Secretary of the Beijing Municipal Party Committee of the Communist Party of China, even extremely exaggerated, called Xi Jinping the supreme leader's commander, and the chief designer, making his position directly close to that of Mao Zedong, the founding leader with 4 grades, and was considered to be suspected of flatting and inviting matrons. In March 2016, Hong Kong's Apple Daily and the Australian News Network reported that Xi Jinping himself was dissatisfied with some practices of the propaganda agency. Since then, the propaganda department of the Central Committee of the Communist Party of China has ordered medians at all levels across the country not to call Xi Jinping Xi Da again in future reports, and that means further in the around Shanxi, Jinping's hometown. The name Xi Da began when Xi Jinping visited Beijing Normal University on September 9, 2014, and was given by a Guizhou teacher. On October 11, 2018, the state press and the publications administration issued the notice of carrying out the post-training examination for news collectors and editors in 2019. The content of the post-training examination for the editors and editors of national news units, including Xi Jinping's socialist source with Chinese characteristic in the new era, Marxist news concept, new news ethic and policies and regulation, and new collections and compilations of business. Many media believe that Xi Jinping has taken another steps towards the course of personality. On January 10, 2020, the CBC Central Party School publication Learning Times published an article saying that Xi Jinping also has a civilian feelings and aristocratic temperament. Hu Ping, the editor-in-chief of Beijing Spring, criticized that on the one hand, the article says that Xi Jinping has an aristocratic temperament, and on the other hand, he said that he was like a civilian, which was extremely contradictory. Controversy over making an exception for re-election. Some people believe that since Xi Jinping became the General Secretary of the Communist Party of China Central Committee in 2012, he has used differentials anti-corruption to eliminate political opponents, promoted deepening the reform of the party and the state institution to concentrate individual power, abandoned the collective leadership system, and required all members of the Politburo to report their duties to the General Secretary, demanded that the party's media take the party China's press freedom amended to the Constitution, abolish the re-election restriction, suppress the privilege interface to support state-owned interface, lead to the country's progress and the people's retreat, and launched a personality cult, 2 establishments, 4 conscienceless, 4 self-confidence, 2 maintenance have become daily political slang. 徐春 Guang, a doctor at Harvard University and professor at Stanford University, believes that after Xi Jinping come to power, he continuously strengthens the Communist Party of China's control over all aspects of society, and return from the authoritarian system after reform and opening up to the totalitarian system in the Mao Zedong's era. In October 2022, the Communist Party of China successfully held the 7th plenary session of the 19th Central Committee, the 20th National Congress, and the first plenary session of the 20th Central Committee. Among them, the positions of the General Secretary of the Central Committee of the Communist Party of China and Chairman of the Central Military Commission were re-elected at the first plenary session of the 20th Central Committee, and Xi Jinping was successfully re-elected in those two most powerful positions. It is considered to break the principle of abolishing the tenure system for crucial leading positions formulated during Deng Xiaoping's period, and be re-elected as the top leader again after the expirations of the 2 terms of office. In the politics of the People's Republic of China, this is also likely to be equivalent to his continued election as president at the 14th National People's Congress in 2023. It is even possible to continue his re-election at the 21st National Congress of the Communist Party of China in 2027. By then, he will be in his 70s. And even more, he is expected to follow Mao Zedong's example and take powers for a lifetime. In the list of members of the 20th Central Committee announced that after the closing of the 20th National Congress of the Communist Party of China in October 2022, Li Keqiang and Wang Yang, 2 former 67-year-old members of the Standing Committee of the Political Bureau of the Central Committee, were not re-elected. Those 2 Standing Committee members are regarded by foreign media as belonging to the regiment led by the former General Secretary Hu Jintao, not the Xi Jinping's faction. In the list of the new central leadership released after the closing of the first plenary session of the 20th Central Committee of the Communist Party of China, Hu Chunhua, once the first secretary of the Communist Youth League of China and only 59 years old, was not elected as a member of the new Politburo of the Central Committee, while all 7 standing committee members of the Political Bureau of the 20th Central Committee are members of Xi Jinping's faction. Some people believe that the above personnel arrangement show that Xi Jinping has completely eliminated all the group force at the top of the party and established individual totalitarian rules, taking Hu Jintao away from the 20th Congress held for controversial. Main article exits event of the Hu Jintao's 20th National Congress, midway through the closing ceremony of the 20th National Congress of the Communist Party of China, October 22, 2022. The staff will take Hu Jintao's former General Secretary of the Central Committee of the Communist Party of China, who is a member of the Standing Committee of the President of the 20th National Congress of the Communist Party of China, away from the event. At the time of the incident, the media of various countries had entered the place, and the incident quickly became the focus of international report. After intensive reporting, disputes over harming human rights, mainland civilian movement and the right defenders. On September 6, 2022, the international organization Defenders point out that between 2013 and 2021, 516,000 to 860,000 people were subject to residential surveillance under the same form of house arrest, and the residential surveillance did not require a ruling by the prosecutor of the court. In 2013, there were 5,549 residential surveillance cases, which increased to 28,704 in 2014 and 4,184 in 2020. Hong Kong Main Article Law of the Hong Kong Special Administrative Region of the People's Republic of China, safeguarding the national security. On November 14, 2019, when Xi Jinping attended the 11th summit he pointed out that Hong Kong's suspended racist violence criminal act seriously trampled the rules and laws and social order, seriously undermined Hong Kong's prosperity and stability, and seriously challenged the bottom lines of the principle of the one country, two systems, saying that stopping violence and controlling chaos and restoring orders are the more urgent task in the Hong Kong's at present. Radio Free Asia reported that Hong Kong were ungrateful for the unoriginal statement and demanded the universal suffrage and the protection of the freedom of Hong Kong be implemented in Hong Kong. On June 30, 2020, the Standing Committee of the National People's Congress passed the law of safeguarding the national security in Hong Kong. Special Administrative Region and many parties question that Hong Kong's one country, two system has become one country, one system. The New York Times believes that Xi Jinping, the general secretary of the Communist Party of China, defeated Hong Kong's democratic movement through the Hong Kong National Security Law and showed no concern for oppositions of various countries, showing his determination of reshape Hong Kong in his own authoritarian way. In March 2021, the four sessions of the 13th National People's Congress adopted the decision on improving the electoral system of the Hong Kong Special Administrative Region, which is considered to completely subvert the electoral system in Hong Kong and deprive the oppositions of the right to stand for election, crack down on the ethnic matter disputes, Uyghur concentration camps controversy. Uyghur territories is influenced by the extremist Islamist factions in the Middle East carry out the violent attack on the Kunming railway station, killing 31 people and injured 141 since then. Xinjiang has demanded a comprehensive implementation of the struggle against terrorism, anti-Osmas and anti-separatism, using dictator's organs and origins and relentless no mercy. The New York Times on the November 16, 2019, according to unconfirmed leaked government internal information, the Chinese government has carried out mass detention of hundreds of thousands of Muslims from the Uyghur and the Eastern minority Rock Scout Republicans, U.S. senators concerned about the human rights of Uyghur Muslims in Xinjiang said in the letters to the U.S. Senate Foreign Affairs Committee, as long as the General Secretary Xi Jinping continued to adhere to this infeasible path, Communist China should never be rewarded for hosting the 2022 Beijing Winter Olympics. British Foreign Secretary Democrat Rabi also hinted that Britain may boycott the Winter Olympic. On January 19, 2021, U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo publicly claimed that the Communist Party of China authorities had committed genocide and crimes against humanity against the Uyghur, and Pompeo's successors Blinken agreed with Pompeo. On August 31, 2022, the United Nations High Commissioner for Human Rights Bachelet released a Xinjiang Human Rights Report saying that China has seriously violated the human rights of Uyghur and Muslims in Xinjiang in the name of countering terrorism and extremism. The report said that a series of cases of undue human rights restrictions were found in Xinjiang, and called the war of the victims to confirm that torture and inhuman treatment were widespread, that the holy sites such as the temple were destroyed, and the action of the Chinese government may constitute international crime, especially crimes against humanity, interfering with the controversy over Morgan Line teaching. Well, that's pretty much everything. Yeah, that's everything I want to tell you today. Thank you so much. Very appreciate it.